This Doom game is the most underrated in the franchise. First, a little history lesson. Doom 1 was released in 1993 to much critical acclaim. Doom 2 followed soon after in 1994, basically doing everything that Doom 1 did well and taking it one step further. Doom 1 took you through the moons of Mars, first Deimos, then Phobos, and then Hell. While Doom 2 brings you back to Earth and then sends you back into Hell as you go through the levels. In my opinion, Doom 2 did everything 1 did well and added a few new monsters and everyone's new favorite weapon, the Super Shotgun. It opened up the level design and tried a few new things while also recognizing its own tongue-in-cheek nature. A few levels are experimental to say the least and out silly. Looking at you, barrels of fun. Now, as we know, Doom 1 and Doom 2 were pioneers in their genre. They basically created the horror FPS and FPSs in general that we know today. Before Doom 1 and Doom 2 was also Wolfenstein 3D and a couple of other games that started the genre. After Doom 2, there was Final Doom. This was composed of two 32-level WADs, which stands for Where's All the Data? TNT Evolution and Plutonia Experiment were part of the Final Doom package. The difference between these two mainly came from, in my opinion, consistency in level design. Evolution had some awesome ideas and some fantastic level design, while also having some really terrible ones, while Plutonia was a little bit more consistent. This probably came from the fact that id Software bought these levels from independent creators, and the Plutonia Experiment had the benefit of more of id's input. All in all, the creators used the assets from the first two games to make their levels. The Dario brothers were the best at this, in my opinion. Essentially, the first three games followed similar formats, graphics, and designs. And then, after a while, I think that id Software decided that it was going to have a different look with Doom 3. Doom 3 took the franchise to a much more horror-oriented level design, where it was a lot darker, with a flashlight and more claustrophobic environments, and more jump scares than there ever were before. Nintendo 64 comes along, revolutionizing graphics, processing speed, and making it possible to have true three-dimensionality. Game developers rushed to Nintendo 64's revolutionary console, and id was no exception. This game was markedly different. The ambience is dark for much of the game. Just watch this intro and you'll see what the game is setting up for you. Yes, bleak nihilism. You're gonna die like the rest. Get used to it. Now, there's also virtually no soundtrack, unlike previous games which utilized 8-bit tracks reminiscent of Metallica, Alice in Chains, and Pantera. All you really hear for much of this game are ambient noises that really creeped me out. I actually would have liked a little more driving tracks to mix things up a little bit, but hey, it's what made the atmosphere what it was. As far as the enemy design, they're drawn a little more intimidating and darker. Even the basic zombies are a little creepier than the original. Most enemies are basically the same with a few notable exceptions. The Pain Elemental, the Cacodemon, and this new Nightmare Imp. A few notable omissions from Doom 2 especially were the Archvile, who I loved to hate. Aside from the Cyber Demon, he is my favorite, but I also always hated this thing. The Chain Gun guy, good riddance because I truly hate him. And the Spider Demon, which was very sad to see that she wasn't in this game. As far as level design, it's much more complex than previous games. In previous games, you might hit a switch and monster closets would open all around you within that room. There would be very little rearranging of the rooms themselves or changing to the actual environments. However, in Doom 64, when you hit a switch, some rooms actually completely rearranged. Enemies didn't need monster closets anymore. They would literally teleport in and attack you on sight. Sometimes rooms would close off and new ones would open that weren't there before. This allowed for a lot more puzzles and secrets to be more complex and engaging. I'll link the playthrough below to show you how to get to the very first secret level. And it's in the very first level of the game, those sneaky Bethesda jerks. But you had to spend a lot more time figuring out what switch opened what door, what lowered what bridge, or changed what room. A lot of times, the rooms themselves would completely alter, and there would be new enemies in there that weren't there before, and this simply just took teleportation to a new level. All in all, this game made you work hard, scared you sometimes when it needed to, and kept challenging you to work through each level as a single section of what felt like a larger world. Unlike Doom 1, Doom 2, and Final Doom, this game kept you on your toes in many ways and challenged you in ways that the previous games before were not able to do. That's why this game, Doom 64, is the most underrated game in the franchise.